It's about faith to believe. It's about hope to receive. It's about love to give life. It's about transplant life with me, Miss Vinnie. We first met George and his lovely wife Terry several years ago when Terry became an historic heart transplant recipient and George became her caregiver, and everything changed. In 2025, George Cecere made the generous decision to donate a kidney to someone he had never met. George said yes to organ donation, and now George is a living kidney donor. And now George Cecere is here, and we are going to talk about it today on About Transplant Life with me, Miss Vinnie. Hey everyone, it's Miss Vinnie. We're here. I'm so excited. It's time for About Transplant Life. I'm back, y'all. Did you miss me? I missed you. I saw a comment from somebody already. My wonderful friend is here, Vanita Turner. Hey, Vanita. I knew you would be here, girl, because George Cecere is here, and I know we have a mutual friend, and we both love George. So thank you so much, Vanita, for being here. Vanita was a guest on my show, too. She is a vivacious heart transplant recipient. And I just love you to pieces. What you say? Ah, you love my hair. I missed you too, girl. I tried to do a little something different, I don't know what's going on, but I have this new passion for pink. So pray for me. I don't know. I'm not going to get pink hair, though. I definitely don't want to have pink hair. But I'm just glad to be here in the land of the living, y'all. And this is going to be a great show. I promise you. Y'all going to get some help out there in Facebook land. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right. Now, if you are a first-time visitor, my name is Miss Vinnie. I am a heart transplant recipient. 11 years ago, I received a second chance at life. I was literally dying from congestive heart failure and in and out of the hospital over 50 times. It was, CHF is a horrible, horrible disease. But by the grace of God, and after waiting in ICU for over 6 months, some days were good, some days were terrifying. But on January 12th, 2015, I received a new heart from an anonymous donor. All I know is that it was a 20-year-old young man that helped save my life. And I am grateful. And ever since then, everything changed, right? And so now I have this passion to make sure that no one goes through what I went through without being educated and encouraged and inspired. So that's what About Transplant Life is all about. This platform is dedicated to encouraging, educating, and inspiring people through faith and sharing powerful stories about the impact of organ donation and transplant. And so that's why we are here. And April is Donate Life Month, y'all. And I think I did a little video for Donate Life. And so what a better time to share the story of George Cecere and his beautiful wife, Terry. She's a heart transplant recipient. But George, while I was away, y'all know this is my first live all year. I haven't done a live with About Transplant Life all year long. Girl, ain't God good? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Judy's here. Thank you, Judy. Blessings, Miss Vinnie, George, and Terry. Thank you so much, Judy. Her name is Cecere, so I know she's related to George. Thank you for joining us. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great night. So moving right along, I prepared a little surprise for you guys. Um, I've been doing this show for this is my third year of doing About Transplant Life. And one thing that I like to do is I create beautiful, personalized thank you cards for all of my guests, for all of my family and friends. They're always getting cards from me in the mail, and I'll be up late at night on Canva making beautiful cards when I can't sleep because transplant recipients we don't sleep at night. Well, I shouldn't make that confession. We do sleep because God promised us peaceful rest, didn't He? So I'm gonna stop saying that. But the fact of the matter is, I'm up late at night, and I'm always making beautiful cards. And so I wanted to celebrate all of you amazing recipients, living donors, donor families, caregivers who have shared your stories over the years and made it possible for me to have About Transplant Life. And so I want to share this beautiful video with you and the impact that these cards have on people that receive them. And my dear friend Jasmine Lachey, when she got her card, she made a very special video for me. And I was just boohoo crying, y'all, just boohoo crying when I saw this video. She's a wonderful, beautiful young woman. She's had 2 heart transplants. So, and let's keep her lifted up in our prayers. Whenever you think about Miss Vinnie, think about Jasmine Lachey.
Miss Vinnie, you have shown out, Miss Lady. So I'm showing out too by saying thank you publicly for sending me this beautiful enhanced photo of me. That is actually a card. Man, it's so touching. She's got a picture of me on the inside after my second transplant in 2013, and then a beautiful note thanking me for being on her platform and blessing me and my family. And she's Miss Vinnie, a heart transplant survivor, a thriver, and her platform is About Transplant Life. If you want to learn more about her or other transplant recipients and how they experienced that situation, About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. And thank you so much.
And that's not even half the cards that I made. I made hundreds and hundreds of cards. I am the card lady. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of About Transplant Life. Like I said, this is our first show this year. Y'all remember Facebook put me in jail in November 2025 because they didn't like something I said, but that's okay. And I was hurt. I was discouraged. I was angry, matter of fact. But I took that season and I turned it into something positive. And I just decided to rest. And one thing I learned about rest is not about weakness. It's not that you're defeated. Rest is a strategy. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things that were revealed to me during my season of rest. And I'm going to share this with you. Rest is not just rest. Like I said, it's a strategy. R means to relax, to give your body and mind permission to pause and heal. That is so important. E is for evaluate, to listen to your body, your doctors, and most importantly, your spirit. Take the time to, just evaluate the path that you are on and make sure that you are doing the things not only that you want to do, but you are doing the things that God has ordained and purpose for you to do. That you are closing doors that need to be closed, and so the Lord can open doors that need to be open. And you are not stressed out. You are eliminating all those things that are causing you fear and anxiety. Just evaluate your situation and your circumstance. And then S is for strengthen, to build back stronger, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And T is for triumph, to walk boldly in your second chance at life, knowing that you already have the victory through Christ who strengthens us. We already have the victory, y'all. And so that's what I have been doing for the past 6 months, ever since November 2025. I haven't done a show, but I've still been actively engaging in advocacy. I've been visiting patients in the hospital. You may have seen a couple of videos that I did about my friend Carolyn Faithlow. She had a heart transplant. And then Carolyn and Catherine, another beautiful woman from Hawaii who I made friends with post transplant. She had her transplant recently. And so these are things that, when I encourage others, it just makes me feel stronger. You know what I'm saying? We are live on Facebook. Okay, you know what? You're not going to work my nerves, little computer. I want to see these comments. Let's see what everybody's saying. Hey, Terry Cecere's here. That's George's wife. Thank you for joining me on About Transplant Life. And Joni is here. Hey, Joni, thank you for joining us. She's saying hi to George and Terry. So y'all got fans and people in places all over the world. My wonderful son, Tony, is here. I just love him so much. I don't know what I would do without my wonderful son, Tony. He keeps me alive, and you've heard my story many, many times. And if you have not, then please visit my YouTube channel. Okay, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. Is there, and we have so many stories that will encourage you and inspire you. And I'm trying to turn off these comments at the same time because I'm my own producer. My producer's on vacation. So I got to click all the buttons. I'm my own teleprompter operator. I'm my own audio technician. I'm a one-woman show right now. So if you see me moving around and twitching and clicking, that's what I'm doing. I'm making it happen. Thank you so much for being here. Now, without further ado, I want to share with you a very, very special person. I have grown to love George Cecere like he's my brother from another mother, as they say. And because April is about transplant life, I keep saying that. April is Donate Life Month. And we are sharing stories about donor stories and living donors. And George is a living kidney donor. Whew, that's courageous, ain't it? Not only is he a living kidney donor, George is the husband of Terry Cecere, like I said, and she's a heart transplant recipient, and he was her caregiver during her transplant journey. And I often say, I think George had a heart transplant too, because everything changed for George Cecere. And now George is the caregiver to caregivers through his support group, TCH Caregivers Heart. It's a virtual support group. You can join anywhere in the world. And I think they meet twice a month, but he's going to tell us more about that. So without further ado, I want to bring on my friend. George is here. Hey,
Hey, Miss Vinnie.
George. How you doing, George?
I am just doing fabulous. Thank you very much for asking.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being a part of About Transplant Life, the
Oh,
return,
yes, I'm so
the
happy.
return of Transplant Life.
I'm so happy to be here and honored to be on the first live that you've done all year. And I just want to say on behalf of all your fans, and believe me, there are many, many out there. I'm so
Hmm.
glad to see you back doing the thing that you do the best, and that is sharing the stories about transplant life and providing this platform for people to get on and share those stories. And I really loved your beautiful piece on rest. That was
Oh
that
yeah,
was inspirational, and it's something we all need to think about because we all need that kind of self care. And sometimes in our busy lives, we don't stop often enough to rest and to reflect and to thank God for all the blessings that we have. So thank you for
that's
reminding us.
absolutely right. You're welcome. And here on About Transform Life, we're going to be doing more of that, encouraging people, with practical information, faith-based information that they can apply to their daily lives, right? It's so
Right.
important, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I would not be alive today if it was not for the grace and mercy of God and the generous gift that I received from my organ donor. They worked hand in hand, and if I didn't know how to pray God's word, I'd have been a babbling idiot being in the hospital for 6 months in ICU under constant supervision, right?
Can't imagine.
So, yeah. So these are the things that we want to share. And so, talking about you, my dear friend, first of all, how's Terry doing? Your beautiful wife, Terry, how's she doing?
She's doing well. She's 3.5 years, going on 3.5 years post transplant. And, we've had a few ups and downs, which, you can hear more about that when we talk about the YouTube show that we're going to have that
You
you're going
better go, George. You better go. Because
but
George and
she's
I
doing
got
she's doing
together.
well. She's doing
That's
well.
good. That's good. You said before you said she's stable, so stable is always good in transplant life, right?
That's right. So yeah, and she may not be normal to most people, but she's normal in terms of her labs and her results and her situation. We love stable. We look for stable. That's
We
a
love
beautiful
stable.
thing. That's a
Stable is
beautiful
great.
thing. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, like George said, we got together what a couple of weeks ago. I think it was April
Yeah.
the 14th.
Right.
And we did an exclusive interview, you guys, for my YouTube channel. And George shared his story about his life with Terry. There's Terry, and her heart transplant journey, and he talked about TCH Caregiver's Heart and why he started that amazing support group. And he also went into details about becoming a living kidney donor. So that's exclusively on our YouTube channel. So I need you guys to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I even have a QR code right there. So if you can scan the QR code, it will take you directly to my YouTube page. We have a lot of videos on there. Matter of fact, I've done over 100 episodes on About Transplant Life over the past 3 years. And so we are constantly adding new shows to our YouTube channel. And George is the latest episode of About Transplant Life. So if you guys want to find out all the juicy details about George becoming a living kidney donor, that's where you got to go. We're live on Facebook, George, and people are making comments.
I love it.
I love it too. I can't say that name, George.
Well, that's a person that's part of my TCH Caregiver's Heart. She lives out in California with you.
Oh, she
Um,
does.
and that's actually not her name. Her name is Vicky, but she's a wonderful person. Her husband is, I believe, about 10 years post heart transplant.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's a loyal joiner on all of our TCH Caregiver Heart and a great supporter. And she does a great job telling her story. So thanks for being there, Vicky.
Thank you so much. And my dear friend Antonio Larkins is here. Thank you for joining me. I'm back. I am back and I missed you guys so much. But like I said, I got some much needed rest and I'm ready to hit the ground running. You know I am. And with a whole new season of About Transplant Life, and God is just doing great things. So thank you so much. I knew I would see you today because you've always been so supportive. Did you see yourself in the card tribute? Because I know you've gotten a couple of cards. Mike Young is here. Look, George.
Hey, Mike. How
My
you doing?
beautiful friend, Mike. He was on the panel with us, right?
He was, yes.
When we did the town hall meetings last year.
And he's out there
Talking
doing
about
tremendous
policies
work.
and procedures and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mike Young is a transplant warrior, y'all. Not only did he receive a heart transplant at the age of 14, but he's currently on the kidney transplant list and he goes to dialysis. And even while he's on dialysis, he does not stop giving because he founded his own nonprofit called the Young at Heart Foundation, which serves children who are on the transplant list at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. So my hat's off to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining me today. We just celebrated 30 years as a heart transplant recipient. That's incredible, right?
That is.
30 years ago, he received the second chance at life. Yep. Oh, I just see. That's why I came back. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. So listen, what's going on, George?
Well, a couple of people that you're doing the people from your comments that jumped on earlier, I just wanted to say hi to. Judy is my cousin. You saw the Cecere in her name. She's my cousin, and she's been so supportive and helpful. Joni Altrui is actually my sister. She's my baby sister.
Hey, sister.
And of course, you saw Terry was on there as well, and my dear friend Vanita as well, who's just with her nonprofit, The Beat Goes On, is doing wonderful things in the Cincinnati.
We love Vanita. Yeah, The Beat Goes On. Her interview is on my YouTube channel too, About Transplant Life on YouTube. So please, please, please make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can see all of these amazing interviews that we shared. Mike is on there. Sam Day is on there. Everybody's on there. Tony's on there. And you will be encouraged, and share them. Share these videos with someone who needs to be encouraged. All right. Will you do that?
Hey, Miss Vinnie, one more I've almost forgot, which I cannot forget. Also want to mention that my mother-in-law, Norma, is on and listening tonight. So I appreciate
you
her.
Not forget your mother-in-law, George. Let me find her comment. Let me find her comment. What's her name?
Norma.
Norma? I don't think she's on here as Norma.
Well, she may be watching. She may not have typed anything, but I know she's out there watching. So
okay, we do have Adrian Poole Johnston. I always love seeing George in action. Did I say her name right?
You did.
Thank
yes.
you for joining us.
Yes, and
Sam
Adrian
Day is here. Sam Day. He's a heart transplant recipient too. And I would be amiss if I didn't mention that George is wearing my Say Yes to Organ Donation shirt. I just love that, George. We're going to have to put those back on the website at abouttransplantlife.com.
Yeah, so it's a great shirt. I get a lot of great comments on it.
Do you? It's a conversation piece. So we're going to have to start selling those shorts again.
They asked me, what's that all about? And then we
say yes to what?
So it's advocacy in action. It's really good.
Thank you so much for wearing that cool shirt. So listen, I want to give the people a little tidbit about why you started your nonprofit and your support group, TCH Caregivers. Tell us about that and why you started it.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to. So going through the transplant with my wife, Terry, I was her primary caregiver through 17 years of cardiomyopathy, leading up to, the end stage heart failure, which led to the heart transplant. And, kind of being a guy and a tough guy, I thought, I won't need any help. And I quickly realized how absolutely wrong I was about that, because it's a tough emotional journey. And so I saw the need for support for the caregivers, something a little bit different. There's a lot of resources out there for the recipient, and in many cases, the recipient and the caregiver together. But I really felt it was vital, and that's kind of been one of the pillars of this organization, that it's caregivers only, because there are emotions and things that we as caregivers go through that the recipients don't, and vice versa. But I was focused on the caregivers. So we started out with a narrow focus of just heart transplant patients, and started out at the Christ Hospital, where Terry was the first heart transplant recipient in their transplant program. And
the first heart transplant recipient in their program. Now, they also did kidney transplants and liver transplants, right?
Yeah, kidney.
Was that me first?
Yeah, kidney. And they've been doing kidney for 50 plus years, 54 years, I believe.
Okay.
But the heart, and they had a great cardiovascular department, but they had not gone to that transplant step yet. But anyway, it started with that group. It was pretty narrow, had about a dozen people, and it was okay. We were having some interactions, and it was good. And then it was March of 24, I decided I really needed to branch out. So through social media and through some contacts I had, I sort of opened it up to recipients from, any heart transplant center, from any type of heart transplant, and virtually anywhere, because we do it virtually. So I opened it up to all those people. And again, there were a dozen people, I like to say, in March, after, we'd been there for 6 or 7 months. And almost immediately it started to grow. And I think when we recorded the show on YouTube, which, by the way, make sure you go to YouTube and check that out. You'll get all the details. I can't remember the number. I can't remember the number that we had then, but as of today, I've got 203 members who join us from all over the country. Yeah, join us from all over.
It's grown since the last time I talked to you.
It has. It's growing at about 15 or 16 new members a month, and it's really mostly through social media and outreach that I do there. But what it really speaks to, I think, Miss Vinnie, is that there's a need for that resource for caregivers. And we have people that are pre-transplant, just transplanted, and people that are 20 years post-transplant. And again, all types of organ transplants. And we meet now, you mentioned a couple times a week. That's how we started. We meet now every week. I have different.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I have sessions different days and different times to try to accommodate all the time zones. And I'm always looking for ways to do even more so we can have the chance. Because, when I have those meetings, every once in a while, like all of us, I might have a day that I'm feeling a little down or I need some of that rest that you were talking about earlier. But I get off that meeting after an hour of spending time with that community, and I'm re-energized and rejuvenated. And
because that's what happens when you give into others. You are strengthened and you are encouraged. That's why I do what I do. If I'm having a bad day, I have to find somebody to be a blessing to. So that's the truth.
Now, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right. And there's so much faith and gratitude and thanks to God that we hear in those sessions, and it comes up organically. It's not, a topic per se. It's something that's so prevalent among the caregivers, is that faith, and even stories where people were maybe had turned their back to their faith, but through this process have come back to faith. And that's enlightening, encouraging, and wonderful to hear. And that helps keep me going, just hearing their stories.
Okay, I thought we had a little glitch there, but you're still there.
Okay.
So for more information about the virtual support group, they can go to your website, right?
Yes, if you go to tchcaregiversheart.com, all one word, just as Miss Vinnie has it there on the screen, you can get information, of course, on the group and kind of what we're all about. You can register to become an organ donor, which is also something that's very important. You can get information on becoming a living kidney donor, which again is also something that's very important. There's some pictures there from Terry and I's, journey. There's a video at the bottom that kind of goes, I think it was done about 6 months after Terry's transplant, that kind of tells our whole story back to our 50 years that we've known each other. And then there's also a blog section, which are kind of just reflections that I've had from way back at the beginning, things that I took note of during the transplant and things that are happening now. So it's just kind of my reflections and my thoughts. If you find some time or have some interest in reading, they're there on the website. So yeah, go to the website. You can get a lot of good information there, and we sure would appreciate that. And refer
Absolutely.
your friends. If you're a recipient and you've got a caregiver in your life, or if you've got a brother or a sister or a parent or a friend who's a caregiver, tell them about the site and have them come. And we'd love to have them join us. The more people we have in the community, the stronger it becomes.
Yeah. Being a caregiver is not for the weak. It's a tremendous responsibility to care for someone who can't care for themselves.
Right.
And so kudos to you, George, for taking all of that and putting it in a package that could be a blessing to others through your support group. That's incredible. You
Well,
know.
thank you. But as I always say, it's as much for me as it is for the others, because I need it. I need that as a focus
Hmm.
and a direction, and it's cathartic for me to spend that time. And I just love spending the time with those people every it's a family, and I love spending time
Hmm.
with them, every week. It's I look forward to it. I look forward to
Hmm. Because now you're anointed to set the captives free,
it.
to, to mend the brokenhearted, as the scripture says.
There you go.
Yes, and your advocacy didn't stop there. Okay? Because in December 2025, what did you do, George?
Well, it just felt like the next step in the journey. So um, I decided to look into the idea of becoming a living kidney donor, and I was blessed to be healthy enough and in the right place to be able to do that. And so, yeah, in early December, I donated a kidney. But again, I'm not going to give you that whole story now, because we talked in detail about that when we did our recorded session, and that's when people can go to the subscribe to the YouTube channel and About
Subscribe
Transplant
to
Life
that YouTube channel. That's
and
right,
listen to the
George.
story. It's the most recent one there. You got to listen to it. Put up the QR code
That's
again.
right.
They got to get there.
Yeah, let me put up the. Okay, George is producing my show. I love it. Okay, because
Just trying to help.
because I need help. So here's the QR code that will take you directly to George and Terry's story. Terry is a part of everything you do. She is your inspiration.
Absolutely.
She is your she is your heartbeat for real. And so I had to put Terry's picture on there too. And so
Yeah.
if you scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to George's story. And like I said, there's dozens and dozens of videos from other living kidney donors, heart recipients like myself, donor family members. There's a plethora of stories to inspire you and to encourage others. So please make sure that you check it out. We're live on Facebook. Okay. So people have questions.
Okay.
He's saying, okay, here's a good comment. George is truly a caregiver and inspiration to all of us in caregiversheart.com. Yes, you are,
Thank you.
George.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for that comment. Okay, so we're just going to move right into the next segment of our program. And it's something that I'm calling Ask George. If you've got questions, George has answers. And so I want you to make sure that you put all of your questions in the comments. No question is a silly question. Okay, whether it's about caregiving advice, if you are a caregiver and you need support and encouragement and you have a question, ask George. If you are considering becoming a living or organ donor, ask George. Now's the time to ask George. So let's move right along. I have a question, George. We'll start it off
Okay.
with my question.
Okay.
Okay. What is one of the myths about becoming a living kidney donor that you want to share that's not true, that you want to debunk right now?
Sure. One of the things that I think is so important that so many people don't understand is that as a when you go in to become a living donor, first of all, there's extensive testing, and um, the focus is on you as the donor and your health after you donate. So there's a myth out there, I think, that sometimes people say, well, there's such a great need for kidneys, and there are, and for all organs, as we all know. Sometimes I think the myth is out there that people think that they're going to, if I show interest, they're going to take my kidney,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the fact of what that's going to mean for me afterwards. It couldn't be any further from the truth. It's completely the opposite. The focus all the way up to literally before they put the mask on you to have you go under to do the surgery. The last question they ask is, are you sure you want to do this? And they ask that
Mm-hmm.
question all the way through, not because they doubt that you want to, but they want to make sure you have the opportunity to back out. So that thought that I've heard people say, and I've had people say, you're a living kidney donor, why would you do that? And
Yeah.
but it's one of the safest procedures that there is in donation. They're very, very careful about it. So
Did they ask you, because someone told me this, that they were asked this question? Did they ask you if you were being paid to become a living kidney donor?
I did not get that question, but I
Mm.
have heard that, Miss Vinnie. That's, I think, another myth that's out there, that there's some sort of remuneration for doing that, and there's not. That's why it's called a gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Judy has a question.
Okay,
Are there any age restrictions around living donors? That's a good question.
that is a really good question. Actually, from what I've learned, it sort of depends to some degree on the transplant center, but I know that there has been folks in their 90s who have donated. So it's really all about your health. It's all about what kind of shape you're in. And like I said, the testing is extensive, and more people that try to donate a kidney, more people are not able to because of one small thing or another. And again, like I said, the emphasis is always on the health of the donor. So yeah, I don't want to speak for all transplant centers because I know that they do vary across the country, but primarily they're just looking for you to be healthy, and they're looking for you to be able to have quality of life after the transplant.
And you were an altruistic living kidney donor. So you had no idea who was going to receive your kidney, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there are different ways you can do it. You can do direct donation to a family member or to someone someone that I mean, in today's environment, you see yard signs and people's pictures on buses and in airports
Mm-hmm.
marketing for a kidney, which, says something about the shortage that there is of organs. But those people, you can choose somebody like that and try to directly donate, or you can donate to the national registry, in which case you're put on the registry if you're approved to be a donor, and you could end up donating anywhere. And then the other way is that a particular transplant center often has a list of candidates that are available, and you can donate to that transplant center. So you can
Mm.
say, so for example, I decided that I wanted to donate to the Christ Hospital, which of course is where Terry received her gift of life. And it just felt like a full circle moment for me to do that and give back. And so, yeah, I went to them, and it's an interesting story. I work with an organization called Off the List, which you had Darcy on at one point, and
Yeah.
a picture
Darcy,
in your
she's
card.
amazing.
Yeah, and they do a great job of helping people to get off the list. That's what they do. And so I started to look at some profiles of people, and I read the profiles and I read their stories, and every one of them I'd read, oh, I'd say, Terry, look at this one, this one. And then I'd read another one and I was like, oh my gosh, this one's so compelling. And I just couldn't decide. And so I went to the transplant coordinator, the donation coordinator, and I said, look, you guys make a medical decision once I'm approved, and make the best match you can based on the better outcome that you expect for the recipient. And that's what I'd let them do. It's just impossible to choose. All of them are so deserving.
That's right. Adrienne, am I saying it correctly? Has a question. Do you have a mantra, statement, or a daily reminder you tell yourself when things get hard? That's a good question.
Wow, that's a really good question, Adrian. I I do in a way. it kind of goes, I guess it's a mantra, and I guess it's a statement or a daily reminder. I go to prayer. I stop and wherever I am, and I just talk to God and say, give me the strength and show me
Mhm.
the way and give me a sign. I like that kind of thing where I feel like it. And Terry and I have always felt like, we had people put in our path for a purpose. We often
Okay.
called them angels. And, whether it
Mhm.
was a guy in a pickup truck who stopped by the side of the road to help us when our car broke down, when we had our little kids in the back seat on vacation in Tennessee, or whether it was our donor, Terry's donor, and those are all angels in our lives. And you know, I think we're put in each other's paths for a reason. And Adrian said hello earlier, and I appreciate that question. She's one of my colleagues that with Donate Life Kentucky Trust, so she works in
Oh,
this business. Yeah, and I'm blessed to be a partner with them with TCH Caregiver's Heart, and also I'm on their board of directors. So I just love working with those people. It's a great organization, and I really appreciate my relationship with them.
Vanita has a question. She wants to know who was your caregiver since you were the caregiver, and were you a good patient to your caregiver? I think
Well,
we know the answer to that one.
obviously it was Terry, and I think you'd have to ask her as to whether or not I was a good patient. I think I was a good patient, but I don't know. No, she did it. She did it. I've told people she did a tremendous job reversing roles. It doesn't qualify her to be part of my group though, because she's a recipient and she was only a temporary caregiver, but she did a great job. I honestly, truly, I'm joking a little bit, but it was inspirational to me because she really stepped up and she did a lot of things during that time that I didn't really know she was capable of doing, and it was a beautiful thing to see, that even Pat through the heart transplant and everything else, she was on top of it. She was all over it, and she did a great job.
Yeah, well, you were her example, so because you cared for her and you took excellent care of her, so you sowed those seeds and you reaped the harvest. That's what you did.
There
Here's
you
another
go.
question. George, did you have to take antibiotics pre and post kidney donation? And what does post donation follow up involve? Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I wasn't required to take any antibiotics, either way. Um, Pre or post. I do know that some people are, and some of that has to do with other issues that they might have. For example, if you've had your spleen removed for some reason, you have to take antibiotics. That's a different thing. But I didn't have to do that. Post donation follow up, there's a 2 week and then a 4 week follow up. And then there's UNOS actually requires or strongly suggests, let's say, that you do a 6 month, a 1 year, and a 2 year follow up where they do a rather extensive amount of testing and they recheck everything to make sure it's good. All your numbers are good and all your kidney, the remaining kidney is functioning properly. Many people, and I did this too, also follow up with their primary care provider, and they run some tests and they can see that your EGFR is where it's supposed to be and that your progression is really good. But yeah, that's a really good question. Um,
You
you
got a
know,
lot of questions.
no,
So
that's good.
let's move on to the next one. My wonderful son Tony, what are some of the things you would suggest that caregivers do to take care of themselves? In particular, a caregiver taking care of a loved one. Now, this one, George, before you answer this, let me give you a little background about my wonderful son Tony. He's been my caregiver since he was 5 years old,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
that's when congestive heart failure started to kick in for me. And he's 35 now. And, I would not be alive. And this is the truth. And I'm going to try not to cry, because that boy found me on the floor in heart failure several times and had to call the ambulance several times. So, I pray for him all the time. I don't know why the Lord made me your mama, but he's a champion. He has been a champion and a warrior. So please answer Tony's question.
Well, first of all, Tony, you need to join my group Because truly,
Uh-huh.
I often say that the first step in self-care is finding a support group. So finding a community who with whom you can share your fears and your triumphs and your thoughts and all of that. Because there are so many things that come up for a caregiver. One of the big ones that's hard to talk about is resentment. And it's not resentment against the person you're caring for, but it's resentment about what it's done to your life, you know.
Mhm.
And again, going back to Terry's story at the very beginning, she was 16 years old when we first met, and she had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma shortly after we met, and we went through that battle together, and that's what cemented our relationship 50 years ago. And so I've been her caregiver for a long time, so I can relate, Tony, to the time you've spent with your mom. But anything you can do to capture those normal moments. If you like to take your dog out for a walk, take Thunder out for a walk. That's good. If you like to, if you like to take pictures and photographs, take
That's
photographs. Do
funny. That's
something.
funny.
I know. I kind of follow what Tony does. So.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, those things that bring a little normalcy back into your life, because post transplant life is not normal. It's different, and it's a new normal. But you know, try to find those little moments. Sometimes people breathe, pray, meditate. All those things are self care, and it's important to do that. And rest. Like
That's right. Rest. That was the key word today, right? Rest. It's a strategy. It's not doesn't mean you're weak.
That's
It
right.
means you're putting yourself first.
Right.
Because you can't care for anyone until you care for yourself.
Absolutely.
Right, George?
Absolutely. That's for sure.
Antonio has a question. How was it being a caregiver as a man? We are so dependent on our wives, so that's a good question. How was
It
that
is
for
a
you?
good question, and it's interesting. My group of 203 people, I probably have less than a dozen men in the group. So most of the caregivers that I have are women. But that's not actually directly answering this question. For me, it wasn't too bad. I am pretty good at domestic things. I like to cook. For some reason, my mom instilled in me the love of doing laundry. I don't know why, but I got like that even before. So I did a lot of that, and it wasn't that hard to get back into those things for me. And I don't mean to sound sappy, but it was done out of love. And so I found it easy
Mhm.
to do those things that needed to be done. But I am very aware that there are a lot of gentlemen who don't have those skills, and I can
Yeah,
imagine that would be tougher. And I consider it kind of a blessing that I was sort of oriented toward that anyway, and so I didn't find it that difficult. But I can understand why it would be.
I've done a lot of shows with married couples, and some of them don't survive the transplant journey.
Yeah,
No,
that is
seriously,
true. Yeah.
because it's a huge commitment, and it can be very stressful if you don't take the time to take care of yourself. Thank you, Antonio, for that question. That was great. Here's another one. Joni wants to know, would you say you feel 100% back to how you felt before you donated your kidney? Or are there any differences? Great question.
That is a great question. And yes, I truly do feel 100% back. It's been about 20 weeks, I think. So, there's still some time for recovery, all this internal stuff, but yeah, no, I feel good. I felt pretty darn good, you know, pretty quickly. I was on a panel a few weeks ago with some other living donors, and the question about recovery came up, and all three of us kind of said the same thing. It it really wasn't that big of a thing. I know that sounds weird, but
They put you to sleep and you
it's a
woke
major
up.
surgery. But yeah, and in full disclosure, and again, go to the YouTube story. But full disclosure, I did have a little complication that I talked about in that, and when we talked a week or so ago. But even with that, that set me back a little bit. But even with that, it was really an easy recovery. And in terms of differences, this is going to sound funny. It seemed, for whatever reason, this is the only thing I've noticed. For whatever reason, when I go out into the cold in the middle of the night to take the dog out, I got to run back in and use the bathroom for some reason. It's like it hits me all of a sudden. I don't know why. That never used to happen before. But
Wow.
the only thing I can think of.
So you have one kidney left, but your recipient has three now, right? That's how it works, right?
It is, yes. Unless the kidneys, the native kidneys in the recipient are diseased or there's a reason that they need to be removed, they actually put the new kidney sort of in the front and kind of up here, more in their abdomen than kind of where your kidneys are traditionally. But yeah, the functioning kidneys stay in there. And I've even heard of situations where they put a fourth kidney in if the one that they received failed, and you know that they put one on the other side. But
Here's a great
yeah,
question from my friend Barbara Brown. What is your motivation behind being an amazing caregiver? That's a good question.
it is a good question, and you know, again, it may sound sort of corny, but it's Terry. It's preserving and continuing the life and the journey that we've had for all these years. You know, we have been blessed in so many ways. We have two wonderful children. We have two wonderful grandsons, and 2 months ago today, actually, on February 23rd, we were blessed with a great grandson. And all of those are motivations for me to keep going. Um,
Hmm.
I need the caregiver role because it gives me a purpose and
Yeah.
it helps me to navigate the new normal. All of those things that all of my caregivers that I have in the group feel, I feel too, those emotions
Yeah.
and those resentments and those fears. Terry had a little glitch in her heart rate the other day, and you know it brought back everything. You know, and she's fine, but it brought
Wow.
everything back. It comes flooding back. PTSD. There's a caregiver
Yeah.
PTSD, and it happens.
Yeah.
So my goal with the group is to provide that space for them to share those feelings and to have that outlet because I know how important it was for me. So, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to help them and the people in the group. I'm grateful for that, but it's also cathartic for me. It's also self care for me.
Would you say, George, that it's even ministry, that it's unto the Lord,
Sure,
that it's a part of
absolutely,
your purpose?
yeah,
Because He
absolutely,
allowed you to go through this journey as a caregiver with Terry. And because of that, because of everything you experienced, now you have the knowledge and the wisdom and the firsthand experience of what caregiver life is about, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you can't speak about what you haven't experienced,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's definitely a ministry and a part of your purpose, would you say?
Oh, without a doubt, you know we talk all the time about it being you know our purpose in life. I mean, you know, our ministry is a good way to put it. Our purpose in life, moving forward, and our mission in life is to advocate for organ, eye, and tissue donation, to advocate for caregivers, and you know to do everything that we can. We call it the ripple effect, and it's not something original that we came up with, but we talk about the ripple effect all the time. You know, it starts in so many ways. It starts with somebody throwing a stone into a pond. We've all done that. You see the concentric circles that come out from that, and the ripple carries forward. So if
That's right.
me having this caregiver group can cause someone else to feel better and become a better caregiver and to give them some peace in their life, and they can do that for them, and then they can enjoy more ordinary days and more special days, and those are the ripples. And the ripple, I mean, you can apply it to anything. It goes back to the amazing people who work in hospitals and work for OPOs that spend time with donor families as they're losing a loved one and one of the most difficult times of their lives, and they carry on these conversations with somebody and they get them to say yes. And you know, somebody said yes. We don't know Terry's donor or donor family, but
Oh, okay.
somebody made the decision to say yes, and that started the ripple for us. And
That's right.
we feel like everything we do, the advocacy, the caregiver group, giving back, giving a kidney, that was all just a continuation of that ripple.
Well, you know what, George? I just think that you are one of the most courageous men I know for doing that. You know, don't give away no more body parts, though, George.
Yeah, I think I'm probably done. Yeah, I think
Okay,
I'm
we need
finished.
you to stay
I'll
intact,
focus on the
my friend.
advocacy and the caregivers. Yeah.
And don't give away no more body parts. Jennifer Lentini is here. I just love her. It's wonderful what you do for your wife and to help so many other caregivers.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I sure appreciate it. I love following you. What a wonderful Disney adventure you guys had.
Yeah, she's a transplant recipient, and I believe she's on the kidney transplant list as well. And that gentleman kissing her in her profile picture, he's her caregiver. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we follow Jennifer. She's one of my favorite people. And her story is on my YouTube about transplant life. So make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help me get those numbers up and help others that need to be encouraged. Would you do that? Thank you, Jennifer. Let's see, we got more comments. You know, Jerry Gill's writing books. And Tammy Robinson, I am a double lung recipient, and my daughters were my caregivers. Congratulations, Tammy.
And Tammy is such a wonderful advocate. She's one of my fellow ambassadors at Network for Hope, and she is just always out there telling her story. And, you know, I think as members of the transplant community, telling our story is one of the most powerful things we can do.
Absolutely. You know, because, you know, I just wanted to give back. We've been given so much, right?
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to give back to honor my donor for the very generous gift of life that he gave to me, you know, and it just gave me a second chance at life. It gave me an opportunity to spend time with my wonderful son, Tony. You know, he's just so amazing. And, you know, and to fulfill my purpose, you know, to make beautiful things and like my earrings. Like my earrings.
Did you make those? Those are beautiful.
I made these earrings. I did. That's one of the things I was doing while I was resting. I was making things. Because I love to make things. I make clothes. I make dolls. I make all kinds of things. And when I was in the hospital for 6 months, I made jewelry. And the nurses used to come to my house, to my room in ICU, and they would buy my jewelry. And that's how I paid my bills, y'all. You know, I was sick. It was my occupational therapy, number one. It served a dual purpose. And then the nurses would come, and I made badge holders and bracelets. And they would come and buy my jewelry, and I would put it in a cookie jar. And every week, Tony would come, and I would give him the money out the cookie jar, and he'd pay bills with it. Because that's how we did it. That's how God sustained us, sister. He won't he do it? He sustained me. I had money all the time. I'll tell a quick story. I was like I said, I had my money in a cookie jar, right? And so, you know, you're not supposed to eat sweets and candies and stuff like that. They monitor everything you eat, right? And so this new nurse came and took my cookie jar because she thought I was eating cookies. Wasn't no cookies in there. There was money in there, girl. She took my cookie jar, and I called the charge nurse. And I said, will you please tell that woman to give me my cookie jar back? Ain't no cookies in there. And so, yeah, she gave me my cookie jar back, and not a penny was missing.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask if all the money.
Not a penny was missing. And so I'm just so grateful, you know, to be on the other side of that journey, you know, and I think that it's important that we encourage people that are along the way. What did Antonio say? 11 years, April 17th. You just celebrated 11 years.
That's
Congratulations. Because someone said yes to organ donation. We are alive. Yes, what did Tony say? On top of working 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Yeah. Yeah. Tony did that. Anything else you want to say, George, before we go? This was wonderful.
Well, I just want to say
so much.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks so much. And as a lot of people have expressed, welcome back. And, you know, wonderful to see all the comments and the questions. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be the first one and your first live back. And of course, it's Donate Life Month. So I would be remiss if I didn't remind people to go out to registerme.org and register as an organ donor. Again, if you want to see some information about registration, about living kidney donation, you can go to tchcaregiversheart.com. And if you're a caregiver or you know a caregiver, become part of the community. Take the first step in self-care by joining a support group. And
That's right. And
Miss
make
Vinnie, thanks.
sure you go to my YouTube channel and you like and subscribe to George's exclusive interview. I still got that doggone banner up there. It's in the way. And it's on our YouTube channel, About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. So make sure you check it out. All right. Will you do that? Thank you so much, George.
Oh,
I think you
absolutely.
are so amazing. And here's the QR code for that. And if you scan that QR code, you can Tony put directions up here. I'm looking for the directions Tony put up here. But now, okay. Oh, I can't find it, Tony. Where did you do? There's so many comments in here. I can't keep up. Okay, wait. I'm gonna find it. Hold on. I want to post. Okay, now I can't find it. I don't know what I did, y'all. That's what happens when you're a one-woman show.
That's what happens when you're live.
Okay, here it goes. If you have an iPhone, if you have an iPhone, you can screenshot. I need a producer. I can't be pushing all these buttons. Lord, send help. If you have an iPhone or can screenshot the QR code and go to your photo album, then tap the QR code and the link will take you to YouTube. See?
I did not know that. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Yes. And thank you, George. I love you so much.
Well, I love you too, Miss Vinnie. Thanks so much
You
for having
have
me.
truly been a blessing. This was a great show. Thank you to everyone who joined us today on Facebook. Look at all these comments. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Thank you for the love. I really missed y'all. I truly, truly did. And I'm back. So I'll be doing live shows. Thank you, Jerry. I was getting ready to do this. There it is. That's where you can register to become a organ donor. And if you want to share your spare, there's more information about that on George's website. You could do that. I'm looking at the comments. She says I'm funny. You are so sweet and funny. Okay, thank you. Girl, I'm glad to be alive. You hear me? After being in the hospital for 6 months, 23 days, it's something terrifying about them telling you that you need a new heart. You know what I'm saying? And all of my heart recipients, they understand what I'm saying. You can tell me I need a new toe, I can still walk around. But tell me I need a new heart, I only got one. You know what I mean? It's life-changing. And I'm sure you understand when they told you your wife needed a new heart. It shakes you to your core.
Oh, absolutely it does.
It really, really does.
There's only one. And without it, there's not any more you.
That's right. And so I had to call on all my prayer warriors and summon all the angels to be encamped around about me. Because let me tell you something. It was a challenge, but I stood on the word of God. And one of my favorite scriptures is this one right here. Now, thanks be to God who always leads us to triumph in Christ. Always. It didn't say sometimes. It says always. And that's Philippians 2:14. And when I tell you, I don't understand how anyone could go through this journey, whether you're a caregiver or you're a recipient or you're a living donor, no matter what it is. I don't understand how anyone can go through life without, understanding that God is a very present help in times of trouble. He really, really is. And so I just want to leave y'all with that. Thank you, George.
Thank you, Miss Vinnie. Thanks, everybody.
This was a great Ask George. We're going to have to do this again. Ask George. I love it, too. It was fun. Did I hear the C word? No, I don't know what the C word is. Terry says it worked, Tony. Yeah, it did. It worked. I'm trying to get everybody's comments.
Oh, she did the
Yep,
QR
I've
code
been
thing.
away. I was away since November, Jerry. You didn't miss me, huh? I've been away since November, but I'm back. And we'll be doing lives once a month. And I'll be updating you on all the new episodes that are on our YouTube channel. So you can check it out and share, share, share. All right. Okay, that's it for tonight. So, like I said, if you like this show, please, 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 I need you to do three things. Okay. I need you to like this video. I need you to subscribe to About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie and share this message with someone who needs hope and encouragement, because your share could inspire someone else to say yes to organ donation, just like George here, and save a life. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, George. Don't
Thank
go
you.
away. I want to encourage my viewers before I go. Wow, that was great. Thank you to everyone who joined me tonight for the return of About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. That was so much fun. And I am just so excited about, what's in store for you. Keep the faith. Don't ever give up. The Lord is with you. He is a very present help in time of trouble. Amen. Thank you for watching About Transplant Life with me, Miss Vinnie. I'm going to show you my card tribute because I know some of you guys tuned in a little later. And I'll also show you the video of George Cecere, the living donor. Let's start with that one. We first met George and his lovely wife Terry several years ago, when Terry became an historic heart transplant recipient and George became her caregiver, and everything changed. In 2025, George Cecere made the generous decision to donate a kidney to someone he had never met. George said yes to organ donation, and now George is a living kidney donor. And now George Cecere is here, and we are going to talk about it today.
Miss Vinnie, you have shown out, Miss Lady. So I'm showing out too by saying thank you publicly for sending me this beautiful enhanced photo of me. That is actually a card. Man, it's so touching. She's got a picture of me on the inside after my second transplant in 2013, and then a beautiful note thanking me for being on her platform and blessing me and my family. And she's Miss Vinnie, a heart transplant survivor, a thriver, and her platform is About Transplant Life. If you want to learn more about her or other transplant recipients and how they experienced that situation, About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. And thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. For more inspiring stories, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie.